Hello there, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time, welcome. I'm almost 28. I live with my mom. I don't have a job, and I don't pay rent. Let's cue the booze. Let's cue the you're spoiled. Let's cue the you're entitled. Let's cue the you're responsible. Let's cue you're a mooch. Let's cue you're elite. Let's cue you're lazy. Let's just cue up all these words that just don't reflect who I am at all, and let's just really, feed into the perpetuated cycle that society tells us about independence and what it means to live at home still when you're older. And let's just cue every non-critical thought, every non-critical label, every non-critical thinking thing that you could ever say. Let's cue the lazy thinkers, let's cue them. I'm queuing them up right now. I'm calling you in. I'm actually calling you in. Let's cue the lazy thinkers. I don't think that people who say certain things realize, you hear people say oh, when you live with your parents or your parent, you're not paying with rent, but you are paying with your mental health. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that's actually very true. You are paying with your mental health. You will be triggered time and time again. You will feel the feelings that you thought you could escape and the trauma that you thought didn't exist, maybe forgot existed, or maybe knew existed. You will have to face yourself. You will have to face your life. You will have to face your family. You will have to face it all. Yeah, you will have to face it all. And honestly, that is why I think I was placed here, especially for this long. I've been here for 4 years, going on, 4 years plus. And honestly, I do feel there is a higher purpose to why I'm here. And nobody's going to make me feel bad for that. Nobody's going to make me feel wrong for that. And nobody's going to make me feel like I'm just lazy, spoiled, entitled, irresponsible. Cue the lazy thinking. Nobody's gonna make me feel that way. I'm not going to internalize that rhetoric, because I just feel as a generational healer, as the generational cycle breaker, as the one in my family lineage that is doing the thing that nobody else has done, paving a way that nobody else has walked, paving a way that nobody else has paved, doing things that nobody else has done, making decisions that nobody else has made, I feel like me being here, not paying rent, living with my mom at this age, it makes sense. It doesn't surprise me, because how can you break cycles? How can you break through? How can you be the new thing? How can you initiate a new earth, a new reality, a new dynamic when you don't know what the dynamic is? Before living here, I actually was in college, right? So I was going to college. I was doing the thing that everybody says this is what you do. You get out of high school and you go to college. You go to college, you get the job. You get the job, you live alone. You have roommates in college. And I had that, and I experienced that, and I did that. And I ended up getting my AA degree, not my bachelor's degree, because guess what? I dropped out because COVID came, and it was basically what's that? What do you call it when you don't really have a choice and it just happens? It's void, or it's fault, or it just went into default, I guess, maybe. But that's not the word I'm really thinking of. But it just happened because of circumstances, right? So yeah, I stopped going to school. I got in a car crash, and and my life started just falling apart because I started manifesting. But I got in a car crash. I wasn't friends with my roommate, which was my best friend. I didn't feel safe to live there, so I couldn't live there. Couldn't sign the lease. We only had a couple months left. I tried to look, nothing found, nothing happened. Stayed with my friend for a week. Then I came back here. Then I went to Miami. Then I went back to Tallahassee, which is where I was in college at. Like, I traveled, like so many places in between that time and now. And even in my mind, like emotionally, spiritually, mentally, like I have traveled through so many layers and like so many ages of myself, and so many like stories and narratives and beliefs and blockages. And I really do believe that like God sent me into my family system in this way so that I could be a disruptor to challenge their beliefs and also challenge my beliefs, and also see the dynamics that are running underneath the surface, the dynamics that have been running, right, for generations that I'm here to break. I feel like there is this narrative in society where it's like everybody's supposed to do the same thing. Get the job. If you stay with your parents, you have to pay rent. You can't stay with your parents for free. You have to be out by 18. Like all these harsh and very distant and cold ways of like existence, when like genuinely family is supposed to be a community. It's supposed to be a tight-knit, loyal, loving, supportive, unconditional space and place, in my opinion. When you realize that like that's not actually what you're existing in, not only does it create a disillusionment of family, but then it's like you also have to look at that, right? A lot of people don't look at that because they get in line, they do the thing that's been done, they make the decisions that have already been made, they don't fight for their rights, they don't fight for what they believe in, they don't fight for their spot, they don't like, and maybe that's not their position, right? Everybody doesn't have the same role. But for me, I feel like that is my role in being here. I feel like this time is misconstrued as, oh, I'm just like doing nothing because I don't have a job, or because I don't have savings, or because I don't do this or do that in the way that it's supposed to be done. But it's like this time for me, and I feel like it's meant to be, is reparative, right? It's a time where I'm able to really begin again, right? And really understand who I am and come into who I am. Because as a child, I was very enmeshed with my mom, and I don't know if you know, but like enmeshment really does create it creates developmental delays, right? So essentially I was developmentally delayed, and like everyone in my family when I was younger, like I was definitely like different. I've always been different. I've always been sensitive. I've always been intuitive. I've always been this like very special child person. I've always been this light. I've always been very loving. I've always been very just different. And so those differences got seen as like, oh, you're less, even though I feel like my light was seen ultimately, right, and my potential was seen, it wasn't encouraged, right, because I was different, because I am different. And so from an age of a child, there was always this like narrative or push or agenda or like design, right, God's design to put me into a family that would catalyze this experience, and then as an adult, whatever, I would end up here. That's a story for another day. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like this is coincidence. I think it just adds to my story. And if I look at my childhood and how I was growing up, a lot of people grow up in a house where it's like they're pushed out, right? And it's like they're really encouraged or pushed to get a job. They're really encouraged or pushed to be independent and be an individual and be their own person. I got some of that, right? But not to the degree that, let's say, my older sister did, right? Where she was working the jobs and she was pushed out and she was put in roles and she was encouraged and she was, more so like treated differently because she's different. Like, I don't know how else to describe that, but like, if you know, you know. And so for me, being projected as the baby, amongst being, too emotional, too sensitive, I was seen a certain way that made it so, I was treated then like I wasn't capable, like I wasn't full, like I wasn't whole, like I wasn't able to be really independent. But the truth is, I just learned and grow and live and exist in a very different way than my family, than my parents, than my mom. And that way did not fit into, again, like the present moment, the ways of the world, the ways that are naturally taught. And so I went against the norm as a child, and I'm going against the norm as an adult. And for me, this feels like a very reparative state. And, when you're young, that is when your formative years is when you develop those beliefs and you learn how to live and what's right and what's wrong and all of these certain things. And so if I was taught to fear my power at a very young age, it's going to take me time to come back from that, right? And really be able to walk my own path, which is what I feel I've been doing here. A lot of the time, I think it can be seen as wasting time, and I get that from a perspective. If you're living with your parents and you're just eating snacks and chips, and that's your prerogative. Hey, I get it. But if you're just eating snacks and chips all day, you don't have any goals, you don't have an agenda, you don't have a plan, you don't have, and not necessarily a written goal or a written agenda or a written plan, but just you're not working towards something, you're not building something, you're being lazy, you're actively sleeping all day, you're in depression all the time. That's different. That's a different experience than what I'm experiencing. And I don't like how I'm lumped in with that. I just don't like the perspective, because there are people on this earth who are really put on this earth to create a new earth and create a new way of being. And these disruptors, right? The systems, the family systems, the friendship systems, the past systems, the societal systems, the norms, they're all pushed up against you only to make you rise into your power more, only to make me rise into my power more. I don't think a lot of people realize that the thing that is taught in society is leave home, when in a lot of cultures it's actually normal to live with your parents, right? And a lot of people and families do that in general. You can live with your parents for however long. It really just depends on the family. It's like relationships, right? Every relationship, every family, every group, every dynamic has its own rules and has its own ways of being. But a lot of people, they tend to leave home, but whether it's because of toxic dynamics or because of school or whatever, but they leave home and they're still carrying, is it really home? That's up for interpretation. But they leave and then they realize, oh my God, I'm still carrying all this stuff from my childhood. I'm still carrying all this stuff from this trauma. I'm still carrying all this feelings toward my mother and my father and my this and my that. I'm left that space, but I'm still carrying from that space. And that is what I'm not here to do. I'm not here to just run and leave and then carry that with me. I'm here to repair myself, right? Heal, let go, rejuvenate, revitalize, really re-empower myself, reinvigorate myself, come back better, come back stronger, come back differently, and then leave knowing what I know about dynamics, what I know about my family, what I know about myself, what I know about life, and use it to create the next chapter of my life. Just because you move, that don't mean you actually moving. You can move whole states, you can move whole countries, you can move whole houses, you could move all you want, but that don't mean that you're actually moving. You're just giving the illusion that you're moving. I feel like, in conclusion, that there are many ways to live this life. And, with the lifestyle I've chosen, the lifestyle I'm living, there are pros and cons, right? It's not all bad and it's not all good, right? Even though I'm paying with my mental health, there are still moments where I do have peace, deep peace, and I'm very connected to God, and I'm very grateful, and I have to be grateful, or I really want to leave, but I understand that it's not time yet, or I really want to do this and that, but it's that's not where I'm at. I really want to be here or there, but this is where I'm at. And so I'm really learning to let this integrate inside of me and live from this space. And that's why I wanted to share it, because I'm just like, you know what, why am I like not speaking to it more? Like, why am I not saying it? Why am I not expressing how I really feel and what I really think? Oh, because the lazy, critical, non-critical thinkers are gonna think, oh, people are gonna judge me, they're gonna criticize me, they're gonna say that, and it's like, they will, but there are people who are going to understand exactly what I'm saying. They're going to feel it, they're going to resonate with it. And sometimes, as a new earth paradigm shifter, leader, light worker, disruptor, healer, generational cycle breaker, like, you're going to be in situations no one else has ever been in. You're going to have to do things that nobody else did, even if that means fighting against certain systems, even if that means fighting against certain conversations, even if that means dealing with the conflict, even if that means telling the truth, even if that means being ostracized, even if that means being left out, even if that means being called lazy, even if that means being called irresponsible, even if that means being called all these things, because at the end of the day, only you and God know what's really good, and the path is gonna path, and what's meant to be is gonna be.